It is 11 o'clock on this Reaction Monday. We'll hear from Kalen DeBoer coming up at 12 noon. 1 o'clock, Bill Clark. 1:30, Hugh Freeze. Been taking your phone calls on this Reaction Monday, discussing Auburn's disappointing loss in Norman, Oklahoma. A lot of conversation about the officiating crew there in Norman. We also told you that the SEC tomorrow night, they will release their opponents for the next 4 years, the rivalry games. We told you late last week that Alabama was going to play Auburn, Tennessee, and Mississippi State, and that is going to be their opponents. So if you were listening to the program late last week, we told you that it was going to be Mississippi State, not LSU. It was reported this morning that that is indeed the case. Auburn, meanwhile, they will play Alabama, Georgia, and Vanderbilt. It's interesting, Landrum, as I was looking back to what was vaguely reported on 2 years ago about who the potential opponents were going to be. Of the 16 schools currently in the Southeastern Conference, of the list that we had prior to last week, only 2 schools did not have any of their games changed of what we discussed 2 years ago. Take a guess on those 2 teams. Nothing was changed based on what we reported 2 years ago, what the SEC was looking at, and what is now being reported that will be official tomorrow night at 6 o'clock.
Did we included Texas, right?
Texas and Oklahoma. Yes, we did.
So I will say that Texas did not get changed.
Texas is one of them.
And the other would it be Oklahoma?
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn Tigers.
Auburn and Texas, the only 2 teams that what was discussed 2 years ago based on the prior metrics, nothing was changed. Meanwhile, you had Kentucky and Mississippi State. They had 2 changes of the 3. So they almost had the entire schedule changed. But almost everyone, for the exception of Auburn and Texas, had at least 1 change based on their opponents. Now, keep in mind, just because LSU and Alabama is not playing on a yearly basis over the next 4 years, they will play twice in a 4-year span. So you'll get them either in Bryant-Denny first, and then 2 years later you'll go down to Baton Rouge or vice versa. So those games will be played. It just will not be every single year in that 4-year cycle.
800-239-WJOX. We get back to the phone lines. A lot of reaction to the worst officiated game in college football history. Hey, Don.
Hello, guys. How are y'all?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm okay. But let me just give a shit to the Alabama caller, Jimmy, that had the nerve to say that. Pat, every Monday when Alabama loses, how many times do they blame the official in all the years you've been broadcasting? That was ridiculous.
Both sides.
Let's not make this just specific about these 2 programs. Fans do it.
No. I agree. It happens usually on Mondays, and when everybody loses, including NFL fans and everything. It's always blamed on the officials.
But let me say one thing, Don. Let me say one thing about this, and I agree with Landrum. What was so weird about that game is that there wasn't just like that one particular hideout play.
There's a bunch of them.
I mean, talk about the scoop and score that got brought back, or the incomplete pass was then a complete pass. And I mean, there was a lot of weird things.
There's just weird things. And I go back to umpiring baseball. Weird things that happen. Yeah. The only way I could compare it was doing a Little League game. More weird things happen officiating and umpiring. Pat's nodding his head. A Little League game than it would, say, the 13 and 14-year-old age group. Correct. Or certainly the high school age group. Just weird stuff happens. It seemed like one of those type of games.
Okay, when y'all talked about the play-by-play announcer tweeting that out, listening to the press conference with Venables after the game, they talked about talking to the officials before the game in his press conference.
Well, once again, if that was the case and the officials blessed it and they ran it and they didn't flag them, well, the SEC is going to have some disciplinary actions more than the press release than you saw. I mean, you might not even see this crew again, if that's the case.
So that's what I was going to ask. That's what I was going to ask all 4 of y'all. Should this crew be fired?
Well, based on what Toby Rowland, who is the play-by-play voice of the Oklahoma Sooners.
But if that is true, then yes, they should not be. I don't know what you do. You don't let them officiate any more SEC games this year.
I mean, he said in his tweet, according to a source, in its regular pregame meeting with game officials, the OU staff brought up the planned play and sought confirmation it was legal.
Okay. Well, on the game, guys, and Landrum, you said this and everything. Auburn had every chance in the world to win this game.
They did.
I mean, I'm not just going to sit here and say it was the officials' complete fault. My special teams play was about as bad as it could be. That's probably the worst offensive line performance I've ever seen an Auburn team have. And I don't want to pick on one player, but Oscar Chaplin, the 65, just played about as bad as you could play. I mean, the whole line played as bad. But to be honest with you guys, I think half of those sacks should go on Jackson Arnold. Hold on to the
that's
ball
why I
for
reserved
45 seconds.
putting too much criticism on the offensive line. You got to be better than that. But how many of those was Jackson Arnold standing around or standing in the pocket and holding the ball too long? How many of those plays once they go and look back at the film?
Yeah, I also agree with you too, Landon. I think that defensive line for Oklahoma might be the best in the SEC. We'll find out. I mean, they'll go up against teams like Alabama, Texas, and Tennessee, and other good offensive teams. We'll find out. But guys, I think we got a better chance with A&M because A&M don't have that type of defense. I think my defense can keep us in the game against A&M.
Oh, for sure. Like I said, if Auburn uses this to move forward, they get better in the next game. I like their chances versus Texas A&M.
Before you go, Don, I wanted to point this out. Based on Pro Football Focus, their premium breakdown of the game, of the 10 sacks that was given up by the Auburn offensive line, Jeremiah Wright gave up 2, Mason Murphy gave up 2, and you just brought up Xavier Chaplin, correct?
Yeah, yes.
He only gave up 1 sack.
He was not good on the snap count. How many false starts did Xavier
that's what I was going to
Chaplin
say.
have?
He probably had about 5 or 6 of the penalties, Landrum. That was really what I was trying to say.
But Dylan Wade gave up 4 hurries, and also Chaplin gave up 3 hurries. So he gave up 3 hurries and 1 sack. So, yeah, it was kind of a rough afternoon.
So basically, it was all of them.
Well, and think about it. The 3 games that you had played prior, look at what Baylor did. They rushed 3 and dropped everybody else. You played Ball State. All right, enough said. And then South Alabama last week. So this was like going from the kiddie pool to the Olympic as far as defensive lines and the pressure that you were going to face. And
that's a good comparison, Landry. Well, guys, real quickly, Pat and Conrad, I know I sent you the picture Saturday of me and PG and Constance together. PG's doing a lot better, guys, and I want to thank everybody for their prayers for my buddy and everything. And he's still fighting the battle, but guys, he's getting better.
That's good. It's great news. Good picture. Thanks, Don.
Thanks, Don. We appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow at Social Taco. JC in Pensacola. Hey, JC.
Hey, guys. Enjoy your show.
Thank you.
I got a question. Why is the play that you guys keep talking about any different than an illegal procedure that gets missed that goes for a touchdown, or a blatant hold that goes for a touchdown, and the officials miss it? Every game I watch, every week, there's many, many missed calls. Why is that any different? And Auburn had 2.5 quarters to make up for what happened? Why is that any different than any missed call that goes for a touchdown?
Because it was out of the ordinary, aside from a missed holding or procedure or some of the things that you just mentioned. Doesn't make it and that's the reason, is it was such a weird deal in the setup and deception.
That's it. It was just weird, but it's just one play that the officials missed.
It did. It went for a touchdown, and they lost by a touchdown, and it's easy for fans to point. But I began this program this morning by saying officiating was not good, but Auburn had chances to win the game.
In every game. I mean, they can't even get the replays right half the time. But I do agree that the fumble recovery that Auburn ran back for a touchdown, that was the correct call. And the one out of bounds on the sideline. You can't knock the ball out of the guy's hand after the play's over and say he didn't maintain possession.
I didn't have a problem with that one.
I didn't have a problem with either those two, but I mean, Auburn had 2.5 quarters to do something about it. But I see bad calls in every single game that result in a touchdown. Offensive pass interference, and I mean, I just don't get it.
Again, I think that we as fans, thank you for the phone call, JC. We as fans were seasoned to, all right, well, the refs, they can call holding on every play, right? That's what everybody always says. Or a pass interference. But on a deception play where a guy is uncovered, nobody is covering him, and they're hurrying to get the play off, and you have two coaches that are running towards the officials and trying to call timeout, a little bit different than, hey, I think that guy was holding.
One, I think now, and of course, we get more information as it goes, but the information that Pat shared about maybe checking with the officials and that whole confusion of it, it just makes it more bizarre.
And then when the SEC comes out and they go out of their way to make a statement after the game.
Because they don't do that.
No,
they
typically they don't. You get that sometimes from the Big 12, from an egregious call or non-call, but not from the SEC. And for them to say that means that, they thought it was pretty bad and probably going to be punishable by whatever. 1 game suspension, rest of the game suspension. We'll continue with the phone calls. Let's go to David. David.
Hey, guys. My comment is not so much on the call or non-call, but the problem, I've long thought that the SEC office needs to be more transparent about officiating.
Yep.
I mean, the statement they released was classic. But the last sentence was something like, it'll be handled internally with no further comment.
Appropriate accountability will be applied without additional comment.
Yeah.
See, I think the lack of transparency just fuels conspiracy theories. And like 6 or 8 years ago, there was a weekend where there was some really controversial calls, and then the next day on Sunday there was a controversial call in the NFL. I think on Monday the NFL came out and announced that particular referee had been terminated. I don't know why the SEC can't be more transparent. The SEC office has a great media department. I mean, when there's good news or happy talk, the commissioner is everywhere, talking it up to every media outlet, all the. But when something like this happens, it's like, nothing to see here, move along. And I think a start would be, does the league mandate the coaches' availability and the press conferences that coaches are required to give every week? It seems like the SEC, a start might be saying, hey, look, every week, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever, our coordinator of officials will have a press conference. And y'all can ask him stuff and he can explain, whatever. I just think this no further comment, trust us, we're taking care of it, just fuels a lot of fan frustration and wild conspiracies and so-and-so's third cousin and, that sort of thing. I'll hang up and listen to y'all and see what y'all think about that.
David, absolutely agree on the transparency, because for a league that takes so much pride in being the best league in college football, the way that it's run, and I think Greg Sankey, and I've said it a million times, as far as a leader of an organization, you couldn't find any better. There's no better conference commissioner that's out there. He's done a wonderful job in his leadership. But transparency, Pat, with the officiating crew, and I think that says we have a standard. We are not the Big 12. We are not the ACC. We are not. Are officials going to make bad calls? Yes, but there is a minimal standard, and there's a level of expectation and being able to read the room. And it's not just Auburn fans; it's fans across the SEC, fans across college football that are pointing at this particular play, and by saying, you know what, they're suspended. They're not going to this game or for the rest of the season. At least they're telling you there's accountability and this is not falling on deaf ears.
Well, it should be like in some instances, Major League Baseball, they have a pool reporter that goes to the head crew chief in a baseball game. And typically after a game, the AP writer will go to that crew chief if there was a questionable call in a baseball game. And that crew chief will give an indication of what they were thinking and why they called what they called. I think the SEC Whitecap should be held responsible and maybe not have a full-blown press conference like a coach in the SEC, but perhaps have a pool reporter, have one reporter be able to ask that white cap certain things about happened in a football game and why they called what they did, unless the whole office, the SEC office in Birmingham, wants to conclude their own press conference and, have a detailed information on what took place in a game. But I think that's the very minimal that you should do, is have at least one pool reporter be able to have a conversation with the white cap and let him describe exactly what happened during a game.
Yeah.
That's transparency. We gripe and complain about the CFP not being transparent. That's what needs to happen with the officiating.
Yeah, and I don't know if you're limited on how many good officials you feel like that are out there that are available. I know that they're not paid like the NFL officials are, but still, if you're going to do it, you agree to do it. Nobody's forcing you to do it. Minimal standard. 800-239-WJOX. We continue your phone calls, your reaction. We will try to get to them all. Kalen DeBoer, his live press conference coming up at the top of the hour. 3-man front reaction Monday right here on Jocks.
It is 11:19 on this Reaction Monday. Kalen DeBoer coming up at 12 noon. 1 o'clock, Bill Clark. 1:30, we'll hear from Hugh Freeze. If you're tired of worrying about your roof, whether it's your family home or a commercial building, Abide Roofing delivers tailored solutions for every need. At Abide Roofing, it's about more than a new roof. It's about a team of highly skilled local pros who bring their A game to every single job. They work with precision and pride, using only the best materials to guarantee durability and lasting value. With over 25 years of trusted experience, they have the expertise to get the job done right the first time. You know, dealing with your insurance company, it can be troublesome. It can be a headache. It can be a pain in the backside. And I was experiencing that when I needed to get a new roof replacement. But the folks at Abide Roofing dealt with my insurance company just like they will deal with yours and be able to get everything taken care of and handled. Free consultation and an estimate right there at Abide Roofing. So call them, 205-941-6223, or go to their website, abideroof.com. The number again, 205-941-6223.
This Reaction Monday, a lot of you reacting to the officiating, the bad officiating, the lack of officiating in the Auburn-Oklahoma game, 800-239-WJOX. Let's go to Steve, who I understand has officiating in his background. Hey, Steve, how are you?
Hey, guys. How y'all doing this morning?
Doing well, thank you.
So let's go to perspective. Let's go to pregame on this deal, on the hideout play.
Okay.
So every referee will have a conversation with every head coach. Hey, coach, is there any unusual plays that you're going to run today that you might want to tell us about so that we can, maybe help you make sure you run it legal? So obviously, Coach Venable didn't share that information with the officials. Now, no excuse. Somebody's got to step up and say, where did he come from? And the other thing is that when the conference says they missed it, they'll be dealt with, that should be it. If I make a mistake at my day job, Joe Public doesn't need to know what punishment I'm getting. If you make a mistake at your job, Joe Public, I don't need to know what punishment you're getting from your bosses. Why does the public think they need to know what's being handed down?
Well, the difference.
I mean, I did it for a long time,
right.
guys. I did this for a long time. I'm talking 32 years at every level.
Okay.
So, there's deceit from Coach Venable. That's the first thing from the officials' point of view. He deceived them before the game ever started. So, you can ask me any question you want to after that.
Well, I know that, yes, it is unfortunate to have to call somebody out. But number one, what we do on a daily basis, we do get called out because we do a live radio show and we make mistakes and everybody gets to hear them
but when
and
you
let
get
us know.
When you get punished by your boss, I don't know what your punishment is. I don't care what your punishment is.
But I also wasn't on national television making a call in a game that a lot of America was.
Football in the state of Alabama.
Do what? I'm sorry.
I said you might as well be on national TV because you're talking about Alabama and Auburn football in the state of Alabama.
No, that's what I'm saying, though. Okay, go ahead.
And even the accountability in the NFL, okay, with the white hat going and seeing the pool reporters, y'all do realize he's already talked to New York, and New York has given him a statement that he's to make, and he does not defer from that statement at all.
Well, sure, that's fine, but at least a reporter would do his due diligence and can ask a follow-up.
So, I mean, I just don't get it.
What did you think about the call itself?
They admitted they were wrong. They made a mistake, an egregious mistake. This is an egregious mistake. It was admitted by the conference. The conference will deal with it. I mean, I just don't understand where everybody under the sun needs to know what their punishment is. I can guarantee you it's going to be some pretty good punishment because I've seen those things happen before.
So in your days of officiating and when you had that pre-game meeting and a coach said, we're going to try to run this, we're going to run the fumble rooski, or we're going to do this, we're going to do that, whatever the case may be, did you as an official, did you tell that coach, okay, coach, if you're going to run that, you need to make sure that these are the parameters to make it legal? Would you go that far?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. And then the referee would come back in before we go back out on the field and said, okay, guys, they're going to run this play right here. Here's how they're saying they're going to do it. And if they do it like this, it's legal. Remember, it's a trick play. They have to run it perfect. And so we were all aware of it when that happened. So we all knew at some point in time this could happen. It even take place in the NFL. The NFL head coaches, they tip you off on something like that. Hey, we're going to run this play. We'll make sure here's our parameters. We're going to run it in. Let's make sure that we do this legal. And then referee comes back and he talks with the crew, make sure everybody's on their toes. And sometimes they'll even tip you off when they're going to run it. And with the O2Os, you get a little opportunity. Hey, guys, they're running it right here. Not all the time. Sometimes they do. I know every kicker that I handed the ball to, I always had a little conversation. Hey, you going to let me know if you go onside kick this, right? Yes, sir.
Right.
So, I mean, you know, there's things that go on in a ball game that you know, especially like that. They spent a lot of time making it that elaborate to be able to run it that way, and it's not legal. It was not legal at all because it used the emphasis of substitution as deceit, and that's specifically in the rule book. You can't do that.
What do you think? What do you think should happen to the officiating crew?
You know, I don't know. I don't know the makeup of that crew. Those are guys on the crew that I really don't know. So I don't know. Sometimes it could be a game. Sometimes you're not going to postseason. You know, it just depends on, you know, John McDade's got a great head on his shoulders. He's a fine coordinator of officials, and you know, this might be these guys' first slip up. So, you know, you give them benefit of the doubt. You know, you could lose a game somewhere during the season that you had on your schedule. So, you know, there's numerous things that can get done. I just know John will do what's equitable, and he'll do what's fair. And so, you know, I just don't think it needs to be publicized all over the world.
Steve, thank you for the phone call. We appreciate your perspective.
Yeah, and also, you know, earlier this month, this comes on the heels of the Big 12. They punished one of its officiating crews for an error during the Week 2 Kansas-Missouri game. If you remember that, the crew allowed a punt to occur on a free kick, which is a violation of Rule 2, Section 16, Article 6 of the NCAA football rulebook. They were removed from their next scheduled assignment, which was September 12th. So you might see this from the crew from Oklahoma. Meanwhile, longtime ACC referee Gary Patterson, he terminated his contract with the conference after working the September 13th Syracuse-UConn game, in which the remote ACC command center overturned a ruling on the field after a successful play had already occurred. So he was so ticked off at the way ACC were running things that he decided to quit. So you had one of the Whitecaps in the ACC say, you know what? This is wrong. What y'all ruled was wrong. Shouldn't have happened. So once again, unfortunately, the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season, we've had multiple issues with officiating in multiple conferences.
Let's continue with the phone calls. Let's go to Glenn. Welcome in.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I'd like to ask you a question about another play that I really haven't heard anybody talk about, but the Oklahoma defender who had been out for the first half for targeting the previous game, I don't remember his name, he had a sack on either the first or second play that he came back into the game. Now, the way that I saw it, he came around from the backside, and it looked to me like he launched at Jackson Arnold and actually had helmet-to-helmet contact. Now, I'm not, by no stretch of the imagination, do I blame Auburn's loss on officiating. I think all that kind of stuff happens all the time. Players get hurt. Sometimes fans want to blame, you know, well, if we had had so-and-so, you have to be better than that. You have to be better than bad calls. But I'd like to hear your opinion. Did you see it that way, or am I totally off base?
No, I think I vaguely remember that. And the player in question, that's R. Mason Thomas. He was out the entire first half due to a targeting call in the Temple game. And then I think I do remember that particular play that you're referring to, because I think I remember seeing it the same way you did, and I wondered why that was not reviewed. So, yeah, you're not crazy in regards to, did you see that? I thought the same thing. But R. Mason Thomas, he was absolutely, you could tell he was had that pent-up frustration from the first half, because, man, when he came in there in the second half, I mean, he was the one that absolutely was just havoc everywhere on that last series that Auburn was trying to do something. So
still time for a lot of you to weigh in. A ton of texts we're going to get to throughout the course of the show. Also, your phone calls before Kalen DeBoer's live press conference in Tuscaloosa, previewing the Georgia Bulldogs at the top of the hour. Three-man front continues on this Monday.
11:34. We continue with your calls. Text messages welcome on the Courtesy GMC text line 205-834-9450. Top of the hour, we'll hear from Kalen DeBoer, the head football coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide. As they get ready to take on the Georgia Bulldogs, Vegas has installed the Georgia Bulldogs a 3-point favorite against the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Kirby Smart, he's still 1-6 versus Alabama.
That is correct. That has not changed.
Jay, welcome in.
Hey, man. This is from an Alabama fan, so I guess they can take it with a grain of salt. But, I hate to see games come down to refereeing because, yes, did Auburn do some things they could have done to win or didn't do? But if they missed one call, it would be one thing. But the fact I saw 5 that they missed, and they never really – I don't know. You see some games where they miss a call, but then they may come back at the end and give a ticky-tack call to even it out. I didn't see it was evenly called game. And did anybody mention or did y'all see anything around the third and fourth quarter, the nonstop whistle blows? Is that still considered? I know the cowbells are an excuse, but, man, I actually thought they were fighting on the field one time, but for just the nonstop whistle for like 5 seconds solid.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be able to have those artificial noisemakers. Yeah, thank you, Jay. I didn't hear that. I had not heard anyone mention that prior to that phone call. But, yeah, it's supposed to be illegal. Let's go back to your phone calls. Bill.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
A couple of things. Number one, why is it that the coaches, especially at the Auburn game, they can't say anything? If they say anything about the officiating, they get blasted, don't they?
Yes, that is frowned upon.
Mm-hmm.
I know, but why?
The league office doesn't want a bunch of coaches, I guess, talking bad about the officials because in most games – you're going to be able to complain about officiating to some degree, and they probably just want to nip it in the bud and say, we'll make comments out of the league office, control the message.
Yeah, and what happens after a game, based on my knowledge in the past, when coaches have a problem with certain things that takes place on a Saturday, they will put together a film clip, and they will send to the office in Birmingham, and they will ask for explanations on why this occurred or why it didn't occur. And so I'm sure Auburn's got plenty of tape that they have already submitted to Birmingham for review.
Not only things that the average fan or the viewer saw during the game and was pointed out, but also things that we didn't see, and that kind of opens it up to and that kind of stuff that happens during the course of a lot of college football across all leagues that we never hear about, we never see. But
yeah,
that would be the reason, just controlling the message.
Yeah, my second point is this. When are they going to change the name of the Heisman Trophy to the quarterback trophy?
Thank you very much. They might as well. There's a good chance that quarterback's going to win it again this year. Tim, welcome in.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I was just wanting to reply on all the conversation on the Auburn game.
Okay.
And ask y'all a question. If all them calls would happen this weekend against Alabama versus Georgia, all in Georgia's favor, how much outcry do you think there would be in the state of Alabama?
Tremendous.
There would be a lot.
Yeah.
A ton. Yes.
Yeah.
I may even fear.
While I agreed with the officials on the scoop and score, they called it the only way it was callable. All of the overlooked pass interferences, while some happen, not by the same back judge all the time. And the illegal play is illegal. There ain't no two ways around that, but they deemed it legal. I know there's no defense for it, but let's let it happen to Alabama and see where we go from there.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the phone call from you. I was just looking at the all 22, and this was not from one end zone or the other, where you can see everything from up top, the overhead view. And some of you have probably seen it as well. But right before that play, the play that's come into question with the deception, you've got DJ Durkin, I believe, and Hugh Freeze right there next to the official asking for timeout a good 2-3 seconds prior to the ball being snapped. And the official, just for whatever reason, maybe he says he didn't hear him. There's no way you didn't hear him. Or you either need to get a hearing aid if you couldn't hear him, or you don't need to be there. because they were right there. We'll continue. Let's go to Jeff. Welcome in.
Hey, guys, I was just wanting to kind of talk about the officiating. You know, what I've learned over the years, and I've watched a lot of college football, you're going to have bad officiating in every game. Like you said before, you could call holding on just about every play. The difference is you just got to, whether you get a good call, bad call, you know, you just got to, that's part of the game nowadays. You just got to be the better team and win.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think, you know, a lot of it's reviewable and some's not. Maybe they need to look at giving each team X number of reviews if they can. It's a, you know, big question mark.
Yeah. Well,
don't you agree it's kind of just become part of the game?
Well, it is. It's unfortunate, but in a game like this, where you've got admittedly missed opportunities by Auburn, but it's such a close game, and then it comes down to a 1-score game, and you can point at a deception play. It's a lot easier.
Game, yeah, well, looking at that game, do you think that the fumble, the Oklahoma receiver fumbled and Auburn grabbed it? Do you think that was, you know, you don't think the ground caused that fumble as much as anything? Would that not be? I've seen the same call in other games where they just ruled an incomplete pass. You know, Auburn got 7 out of that, did they not?
Which game are you talking about?
Auburn, Oklahoma,
no.
Where the Oklahoma receiver called it. You think that was a catch and a fumble?
You're talking about the scoop and score, right?
Right, scoop and score.
Yeah, I thought it was a fumble in real time. I thought you still could rule it a fumble and uphold it, even with a review.
Yeah, I mean, but that goes back to what I'm saying. There's all kind of plays that are not called, and you're right. They should be called a lot better. But you know, you got humans calling the game.
That's right.
And it's become that, you know, no matter which team you pull for, there's going to be a call. You can say, hey, we lost because of that. But there's, you know, 100 plays before that. You know,
yeah.
And you know,
there were, Jeff, thank you for the phone call. There were just a lot of situations in that game, more than normal, that even the broadcast crew, McElroy doing it, on certain things that should have been called, or, hey, I don't know about that. The audience was keenly aware in that particular game, and you had certain questionable non-calls, calls that went the other way that were called into focus. We'll continue with your phone calls on this Reaction Monday. Let's go to Max. Hey, Max.
Hey, morning, guys. Great show.
Thank you.
Landrum, you're exactly correct on the fumble non-call that was reversed, because if you look at those types of calls in most games, if it's a bang-bang play, they revert to the call on the field.
Right.
That was obviously a touchdown that was taken back.
Yep.
The deception play was exactly what it was. It was a deception play, 14-point swing right there. And to the point that your previous caller, who was previously a referee, tried to make of why we need to know what happens with this crew, I'll tell you why. I don't care if you're an Alabama fan, an Ole Miss fan, or a Tennessee fan, which fan base wants this crew calling their game?
Yep.
They don't.
That's
Who
right.
wants this crew? You know? So if I'm Alabama and I'm playing at Auburn in Jordan-Hare Stadium, and I know this crew is coming, I don't feel good.
No, because you feel like they're going to get a lot of makeup calls, right?
Well, they had their opportunity for makeup calls with some of the 4 or 5 pass interceptions that they could have called that they didn't, that could have also changed the game. So I really feel like this crew, I'm not going to call it home cooking, but this crew went out to call a crappy game, and they succeeded. And yeah, I want to know what happens because I don't ever want them doing another Auburn game again.
Not to mention, Max, how many people lost money on that game?
Well, that's the other aspect to all this is because we can't hide from the fact that there is heavy money involved now, and not that the SEC has a partnership with DraftKings or FanDuel or any other gambling entity, but now there's so much money exchanging hands.
If you're going to acknowledge it with an injury report or a participation report, whether you acknowledge it and saying this is to help out Vegas or not.
I mean, that's another reason why there needs to be transparency. There needs to be a white cap interview after a game with a pool reporter. I mean,
there absolutely needs to be transparency, and to boot, I'm not going to tell you that if the calls had gone the way they were supposed to go, that Auburn would have won the game because Auburn did everything in its power to screw themselves with all the penalties and the offsides and the movement and the stupid stuff they haven't done all season. But you want a fair game. You at least want a fair shot to win.
Aside from that, what did you think about the play of Jackson Arnold?
The man cannot get rid of the football.
He held on to the football at times.
Get rid of the football. Yeah, he won't pass the ball. He won't throw it out of bounds. The rush was such that I'm a football neophyte. I just love to watch the game. But if they were rushing defensively the way they were, bull rushing our offensive line, which was like a sieve the whole game, then call it quarterback draw. At least give them a reason to check up a little bit. But they were in a pregame I was watching. They were counting off seconds of some quarterback how long it took him to get rid of the ball, and it was usually around 2 seconds.
Well, and
Jackson Arnold was holding the ball for 4 and 5 seconds.
Yeah, and some of those design runs they weren't available. But you look at the Jeremiah Cobb run late in that game where he broke off. What was it, like 41 yards? It was their longest on
44.
The ground. Yeah, 44. You just wonder, did Hugh Freeze maybe abandon the running game before he should have? Because could more of those plays have popped had he stuck with it, like what you saw from Jeremiah Cobb? Between the two running backs.
Should have, but,
yeah.
The passing plays obviously weren't working. And where are our quick slants? Where are the slants across the middle, those 1 second, 2 second plays to a guy that's open for a millisecond when he makes a break? We don't do that. We always throw these outside fade back shoulder throws that are so difficult to complete rather than these fastballs over the middle. We don't see that. Everybody does that to us, but we don't do that to anyone.
Max, thank you for the phone call.
We will continue with your calls and your text messages. Kalen DeBoer is coming up at the top of the hour, and I know we had some storms over the weekend. So if that old tree is leaning a little bit too close to your house or maybe your driveway that could hit a car, don't wait for the next storm to make the decision for you. Call Golston Tree Service at 205-337-4443. They're your trusted local experts in fast, affordable, professional tree removal, trimming, and cleanup. Licensed, insured, ready to handle any job, big or small, around your house. That's Golston Tree Service, 205-337-4443.
More time to hear from you before Kalen DeBoer live his press conference in Tuscaloosa as we continue on Three Man Front.
All right, let's try to get to as many phone calls as we can here before the top of the hour. Kalen DeBoer, he'll join the program at noon. His offense and defensive coordinators have been talking a few moments ago, and Tim Keenan, it's official. He will be back against the Georgia Bulldogs, according to Kane Womack.
Let's go to Wade. Wants to talk Auburn, Oklahoma. Hey, Wade.
Yeah. Hey, guys. Hey, and by the way, sorry if you've already covered this. I just jumped on, but wanted to ask a question. I mean, I'm one of these guys that's really mad about this. I mean, I believe that game was just straight up thrown. And let me tell you why, and I'm asking a question at the same time. How can the replay booth, who can watch it in slow motion, not see this? How is that a mistake?
I don't have an answer. Great question. I don't know.
Is there one particular play you're referring to?
Are you talking about the deception play?
Well, yeah, the deception play, for example. Or, you have to have indisputable evidence to reverse that scoop and score. Because the ruling on the field was a touchdown, which was, the fact that they reversed that, I can live with that as long as it's consistent. But then they called the opposite for the benefit of Oklahoma. And by the way, these were not mistakes. This was straight up cheating on those screen picks. That's not a mistake. That's an intended deceptive cheating play. And that substitution thing, oh my gosh. And just like Coach Free said, they've been talking about this all off season. It's not like that was something that just kind of happened. Oh, well. But you're talking about that first scoop and score reversal. That's a 10-point swing right there.
Yep.
Because not only did we lose our touchdown, they got a field goal out of that.
Right.
Then you got that missed PI with Cam. He was on the goal line. Okay. So, and incidentally, the judge that had his back, the official that had his back to it, okay, I can understand how he didn't see it. But the other guy was looking straight at it, and he didn't throw a flag. And so it's just to the point of ridiculous. And this causes guys like me, it costs our league credibility on every level. The integrity of the league is in question to me. How you can sit there on replay and not call that out on that substitution thing is unbearable.
Wade, thank you for the phone call.
The only thing that I can say about that particular, it might not be a reviewable play. Now, it's different if there's, let's say you've got extra guys on the field and go back and they can look at that. I'm just not sure on that particular play, based on the rules, if they can go back and review that.
Greg is in Calera. Hey, Greg.
Hey, curious. You think it has anything to do with the scoop and score specifically? Has anything to do with maybe what's been going on with people throwing stuff on the field and worried about the home stadium getting a little crazy?
I would hope not. Thank you, Greg, for the phone call. I don't think so. No. I think it was just a really bad day for that officiating crew. A really bad day. One that will continue to be in the spotlight until next weekend when everybody forgets about it and another crew maybe misses some calls.
Do you think a couple Alabama fans will be paying very close attention to see who the crew is in Athens, Georgia this weekend?
100%. And I, with absolute certainty, can tell you it will not be that crew. What if it was, though?
What if they were in College Station?
Oh. Or the guy from Atlanta is doing the Georgia game. Isn't that where the white cap was from? Atlanta?
Correct.
Caitlin DeBoer, kind of a big one for the Alabama Crimson Tide. They get ready for the Georgia Bulldogs. Tied a 3-point dog heading into the weekend. What Caitlin DeBoer thinks about this year's version of the Georgia Bulldogs. We'll hear from him next, live from Tuscaloosa's three-man front continues on this Monday.